All right.
Everybody, it's either three, one was the.
All right, everyone, we're going to get going here with the call to order. Welcome to Design Review Board meeting for June 11th, 2026 at 5 p.m. My name is Emer Bauda. Sarah, can you please call the roll, please?
Board Member Coveney,
Here.
Board Member Gibbs.
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Here.
Chair Bauta.
Here. We will continue with the Pledge of Allegiance. Debbie, will you?
Certainly, if you stand and put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Debbie. Now we'll continue with the description of the meeting procedure. We will start the meeting with public communications, and that's where any member of the public can come up and speak on anything that is in the purview of the DRB that is not on tonight's agenda. We will next go to the consent calendar, where the board will review and vote on any previous meeting minutes. Next, we will review the agenda order and make any modifications to the agenda order. Then we'll proceed to the regular order of business. For the regular order of business, I will introduce an item, the address, the design review, and or any other entitlement numbers. The applicants will take their seats in the front, and then the board will give their ex parte disclosures, which are communications that we've had with people prior to tonight's hearing regarding an agenda item. The staff will then present a summary presentation. The board will have a chance to ask any questions of staff. I'll then declare the public meeting open. The applicant will have 5 minutes to present on their project. The members of the public will have 2 minutes to comment at the podium. The applicant will then have 3 minutes for a rebuttal. Once that's completed, the board will move to ask any questions of staff, the applicant, or any members of the public. Once complete, I'll close the public meeting. Then the board commences deliberations. During deliberations, any actions is initiated by the board by a motion, a second, and then a majority of vote of the board. The applicant or any member of the public who lives within 300 feet of the project who disagrees with the decision of the board will have 14 days from the decision tonight to file an appeal. So we will continue with public comment. Again, anything that is in the purview of the DRB that is not on the agenda tonight, please, any of the members of the public, please come up to the podium. Seeing none, we will close the public comment, and then we will continue to modifications to the agenda order. I believe we can continue with tonight's agenda order. Any requests for modifications of the board? Nope. So we'll stick with the agenda order and we'll continue to the regular order of business. We will start with item number 5.1, variance 2026-1030, coastal development permit 2026-1033, 2885 Roundsville Terrace. Ex parte, no, this is a request for continuance. Do any members of the public wish to speak pertaining to this item? Seeing none, we close the public comment. Any board members wish to deliberate this or make a motion?
Chair, I'll make a motion that item 5.1 for 2885 Roundsville Terrace be continued to our hearing on July 23, 2026.
I'll second that.
Sarah, can you please call the roll?
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs.
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Bauta.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Continuing with the regular order of business, item number 5.2. This is for coastal development permit 2026-0706, variance 2026-0708 for the site located at 341 Holly Street. Ex parte, please.
Chair, I visited the site and met with Warren Hutcherson at the site.
As did I.
I've been by the site.
Visited the site and spoke with Warren Hutcherson.
I did the same as Lewis. We'll continue with the staff presentation. Brenda.
I suggest expedited.
Yes. Brenda, would you expedite a presentation, please?
Happy to. Here we go. It's coming up now. Good evening, Chair Bauta, board members. My name is Brenda Wisniewski, and we have a project this evening to construct PowerPoint issues, an accessory dwelling unit attached to an existing single-family home. The property is located at the corner of Holly Drive and, sorry, the PowerPoint's not coming up. Monrovia, thank you.
The Magnolia.
Magnolia. The project is on a corner lot, and it's going to be located on the upper floor of the existing single-family home, which is 1,491 square feet in size. The ADU itself does require a coastal development permit, and the variance is also required to allow for the single-family home, which as a result of the ADU exceeds 1,500 square feet, thereby requiring it to provide 2 parking spaces on site. But because of the limited size of the property, a 2-car garage is not feasible. Therefore, we feel that the variance can be justified in that, as you can see on the exhibit shown here, the green line shows the property line and the red line shows the existing building footprint. The ADU, again, will be located on the upper floor. It's shown here in blue with a exterior stairway to the upper level. Here is a cross-section of the ADU itself, shown in blue. It's a small ADU, just over 152 square feet in size, and it would include an efficiency kitchen as well as a multi-use desk and sleeping area. The exterior shows the ADU shown here at the corner. The stairs, again, accessing the ADU itself. And as you can see, the architecture of the design is consistent with the existing structure, which is a craftsman style. And the overall height of the ADU does not increase the size of the structure. In conclusion, staff again feels that the project is compatible with the neighborhood and the variance findings can be made. We are available for questions.
Thank you, Brenda. Do any members of the board have questions of staff? Seeing none, the public comment is declared open. The applicant team, you have 5 minutes for presentation if you wish to use them.
Thank you. Good evening, Brenda. Thank you for that presentation. So as you saw by the lot size, just in case anyone's wondering, there's nowhere else to put an ADU in the future or anywhere but where it is now. It's about the tiniest little ADU you ever did see. There's actually room on the lot to park easily 2 full-size cars. We're shy of the 2-car by a little less than 2 feet. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Any members of the public wish to speak, please come up to the podium. Seeing none, making their way to the podium, we will give it back to the applicant team. You have 3 minutes if you'd like a rebuttal.
No comment. Thank you.
Board, you can we're now open to questions of the applicant if you wish to have any questions of the applicant. Seeing none, we will close the public comment. The board will now enter into discussions and deliberations. Tom, please lead us off.
As many know, I live in the Tree Streets. I prize them. And I think this particular house is a beautiful home. It's been there for quite a while, which kind of tells your age, Warren. I think you designed the original house.
Thank you, Tom.
But it's really well within the neighborhood. And I find the addition, whether it has an ADU or there's an addition otherwise, is a well-designed, well-integrated addition to this house, modest addition as well. And I probably would have approved it as or the variance either way. The variance is totally justified here because of the situation of the lot and the house on the lot. It is just not feasible to meet the two-car parking requirement, given your increased size of this project. And it would deny you the right, the applicant, the right to a very modest development that are clearly by other homes in the neighborhood. So I can make, you got that, Paula? You better fix that. You got it? Yeah, it's not echoing. Therefore, I think the findings can be made for the variance. With respect to the coastal development permit, all the findings can be made. It is visually compatible with the neighborhood and otherwise comply with the coastal development permit requirements. So I could easily approve the project tonight.
Thank you, Tom. Debbie?
Yes, I don't think I can add anything at all to that. I remember when you added the upper addition several years ago, and I think that this is, a very modest request, and I also can support the variance. I think if you had a car as small as mine, you could easily put 2 cars there, so or 3, right? And I can support your project this evening.
Thank you, Debbie. Louis?
Yeah, I'll concur with my colleagues. The addition is tucked in from a view equity standpoint. It hides behind the existing structure. I don't see any impacts to neighboring properties given the development scope. I will note that there is a sidewalk on this property and it connects to a house that doesn't have a sidewalk.
It's not a great sidewalk.
No, but it is.
Unless you're crooked,
And I appreciate that as part of the record because that walkability is important as the traffic and the parking are getting more congested in this area. So I can support the project.
Thank you, Louis. MJ?
Yeah, I concur with my comments of my colleagues, so I can support the project tonight.
I too concur with my fellow colleagues. I think this project is approvable tonight. Do we have a motion?
Chair, I'll make the motion. I move that the board adopt resolution 2026-0706, approving coastal development permit 2026-0706 and variance 2026-0708 for the property of 341 Holly Street and find said action exempt pursuant to CEQA guideline 15301 and 15305.
I second. Sarah, please call the roll.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Bauta.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you all. Have a nice evening.
All right. Moving on to the next regular order of business, item number 5.3, design review 2026-0779, coastal development permit 2026-0780 for the property site located at 954 Rembrandt Drive. Ex parte, please.
Yes, I visited the site and met with Horst colleague and also met with Mr. Steve Lewis and Miss Alicia Paulson.
I visited the site, met with Horst there and the owner. I also met with Steve Lewis.
Met with Horst on site and walked the property and then met with the neighbor, Steve Lewis, briefly.
I went to the site and met with Giancarlo. Is that right? Or something Italian. Thanks.
I also visited site, met with the project architect Horst and also the neighbor Steve Lewis. Moving into staff presentation, Heather, will you please present?
Good evening, Chair Bauta and board members. Item 5.3 is a request for design review and coastal development permit in the R1 zone. This property at 954 Rembrandt is a steeply sloping site which fronts on both Rembrandt Drive and Bluebird Canyon Drive, and access is taken from Rembrandt. The applicant is requesting design review for modifications to a prior DR approval for a two-story single-family dwelling with an attached garage, which is currently under construction. The modifications include on the highest level, level 3, to convert a previously approved flat roof area to a 729 square foot deck with glass guardrails to be accessed from 2 bedrooms. The windows will be changed to doors to provide access. On level 2, the proposal is to convert 354 square feet of mechanical room to habitable space and then do an additional 160 square feet of new living area underneath the garage. And then to also enclose a double height open area to create another 130.6 square feet of habitable space for the main bedroom. There will also be a 107 square foot deck addition to access the mechanical room. A double-sided fireplace will be removed, new glass door from the bedroom to the deck, and to convert some windows. On level 1, the proposal is to convert a previously approved solid guardrail with planter to a glass guardrail, which will increase the deck size by 29.5 feet, and to make some additional door and window changes. This is a view of the guardrail staking from both Bluebird Canyon and Rembrandt. So it'd be a 42 high inch glass guardrail. We received one letter in opposition from one of the neighbors. They shared concerns regarding the size of the proposed deck and some privacy issues. Staff believes the project complies with the design review guidelines, including neighborhood compatibility, privacy, and view equity, and the project does conform to all the development regulations for the R1 zone. So staff recommends the board adopt the resolution approving the design review and coastal development permits and finding the project exempt pursuant to CEQA section 15303. If you have any questions, I'm available.
Thank you so much, Heather. Do any members of the board have questions of staff at this point? Debbie?
Heather, I'd just like to verify, it looks like these are air conditioning units on the deck, on this new deck conversion, that even though that they're converting the mechanical room and now pushing the ACs on that deck, is that accurate?
I'll have to defer to the architect on that question.
Horace, you can answer the question.
Yes. Shall I introduce us first or just go ahead and answer?
You could just answer
Just
the
answer it
Okay,
quickly.
yeah. Yes, that
That's
is
the intent.
correct. Yeah, the
Okay.
bedroom wall will have AC units and they'll be screened in a sound attenuated enclosure.
That wasn't included in the request, so it was not included on the notice.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Any other questions? of the
Yeah,
board?
real quick.
Go
Do
ahead,
you
John.
know in prior approval for this project whether there had been a deck at that location?
There was no deck at that location. The bedrooms had windows and there was no access to that flat roof area.
Okay, do you know if the applicant in the prior approval sought to have a deck and it was denied in that location?
There
Or
was
do we know? I couldn't tell from the
a
record.
lot of deck area proposed on the various iterations, but we don't have copies of the plans from that time. It was 2015 and 2016, so we don't have the previous plans that were reviewed at the earlier hearings. So I couldn't discern exactly where the previous requested decks were. But in the 2016 approval, we did have a copy of those plans, and this roof area was not proposed as a deck.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions of staff? Seeing none, we will open the public comment and the applicant team, you have 5 minutes for a presentation.
Good evening, Design Review Board members. Heather, thank you for the detailed introduction. Horst Knoppenberger, the project architect of Horst Architects. Next to me is Ryan Fan. He is the current property owner, and then John Claudio Infranca, our project manager, who a couple of you met with. First of all, thanks for your time at the site. That was very helpful. And, as was mentioned, the project was originally approved by the Design Review Board 10 years ago, and it was for a different owner. And that particular owner had different requirements, had his family was composed differently. So over the last couple of years, we've had Ryan here as our client, as such, they have different requirements. as the house is, being constructed, you begin to see things in 3 dimension and you see opportunities. So that's why we're here today. We did see some opportunities, and we wanted to go back through the process and, process, or at least propose some of these changes. We had a really productive neighborhood meeting. Quite a few of the neighbors, met with us. And I can't speak for the neighbors, but the biggest concern was the deck, and how that might affect privacy. And, one of the things that we noticed is the house immediately adjacent to the south, has a deck kind of at that level, that comes out to the approximate distance down the hill, of the deck that we're proposing. So we felt confident that we were within the pattern of development. A deck, in that location at that level, was reflected in the pattern of development. And you can see in the diagram that not only the house to the immediate south, several other houses to the south, also have decks. So, this graphic presentation, or this diagram, demonstrates that what we're proposing is consistent with the pattern of development and represents, rights, and maybe not rights, but privileges and, components of architecture that other, people are enjoying. So the deck was the big thing. When the neighbors expressed concern over the deck, we thought, one way to address their concerns would be to put a planted perimeter around the deck on I guess that would be like the north side, facing Steve and some of the neighbors behind us, and then also on the leading edge on the west side. And that green roof is about 5'6". That also precludes people from walking to the end of the deck and looking down onto properties on Bluebird and some of the adjacent properties. And then the other things that we're proposing, some very minor window changes. You know how it is. You walk on the site, you see the views, you start to kind of reconfigure some of the openings to reflect the actual site conditions. So that's why we're here. We appreciate each of you meeting with us, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Horst. We'll now move to open it to the general public. Please, members of the public, if you wish to speak on this item, please come up to the podium. You will have 2 minutes for comment. Welcome.
And I live directly next door to the house. Okay. I thought I'm usually loud. And so I would like to, my husband's on a plane from Asia right now, so he's unable to be here, but I'd like to just propose a few things that we observed. Okay, so as we know, living in the canyon is very loud. And so when you are on, like, their third deck is 729 square feet that they're proposing on level 3. Ours is 280 square feet, and it's very high, and you can still hear throughout the canyon. And their second level deck is 281 square feet. Our second level deck is 108 square feet. The first level is, I think they're proposing another one is 866 square feet. That's besides the 929 square feet, which would total 1,595 square feet just on decks alone. And ours grand total is 596 square feet of decks. And it's not making the comparison, but living there, understanding it's a beautiful home. We all have beautiful homes there, and we're protecting our privacy. And I have a beautiful pergola that's looking down in the backyard. And that deck now, that new proposed 796 square feet is now out. Now that's looking over my jacuzzi tub. Now it's now looking over my backyard. So all of the precautions that we put up, fences along the side to help create the privacy, is now going to be able to be looked upon. And so the enjoyable backyard of sitting back and relaxing is now going to be overlooked because it's on the third level. 796 square feet is a lot for the third level. It would be different if it was on the second level or the first level. Even the second level is a nice sized deck with is 585 square feet. And then, so they have a lot of, so that's what I'm opposed because I'm going to lose a lot of privacy at that point. And I'm also concerned with it's 2 bedrooms, and I have a 12 feet deck off of our bedroom. They're talking off these 2 bedrooms, 796 square feet. And I'm sit outside with a bistro set, and that's about it when you're going off of the bedroom. 796 square feet coming off of a bedroom is a lot of room, a lot of space. And then you have to also consider, not only is it sitting out there, it's not covered. So now you're going to have an addition, you're going to have umbrellas that are sitting there. You're going to have, so it's going to be loud. It's going to raise a lot of height. And so my deck and the deck right next door, they're just going to be looking directly in. And I just feel really sad about that, because I'm losing that nature, relaxing, Laguna feel that we so much cherish. I mean, we just went under construction for 2 years. And so we took that in consideration, looking at the original plans.
Thank you. Yeah, in closing,
You're in the greenhouse
Yes,
next
I'm in
door?
the greenhouse.
Okay, all right. I took a picture from that side and I'm just like, I think this is the view I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Since I didn't meet with you personally, I just wanted to make sure. But thank you for that comment.
Okay, it's like a little.
any other members of the public wish to speak? Please come on up.
Good evening. Good evening. My name's Steve Lewis and I live at 990 Rembrandt, a couple lots, what I guess would be to the south. And I also own the lot right next to the building that they're now the home that's being built. And if we ever wanted to build on that lot, then we'd have to deal with some of the things that are now being given to us that originally weren't. And I also have a great deal of respect with the Bolton family, and they're really affected more by this than any of it. So we'd like you to kind of take some consideration if there was some sort of way to lessen the impact of that deck situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other members of the public wish to speak? Please come on up.
Hi, I'm Ashley Hathaway. I live at 1000 Rembrandt, so I live right next to Steve. From my house, it's not a huge impact, but there is definitely, if you raise that level all the way out, you are taking a chunk of the ocean view that we have from our deck. So we've already lost some because of that house being built. Now it's pushing further into the ocean with that deck. And then you think about heaters or umbrellas or whatever, it's going to be even more. So when we met with them, we proposed that they shrink it down, and we thought we were pretty reasonable, and they agreed. And now they're coming back saying they want to make it the size that they originally had said. So we feel like we're all pretty reasonable, and we would just like to see them back it off a little bit, or maybe significantly, so that it's not impacting ocean views. And for Steve, what he didn't say is like that, if he builds on that lot, the ocean view is going to be so cut in with that high deck that it's going to greatly decrease the value of his property, because there's no, the ocean view is cut down quite a bit. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you so
You're the
much.
house in the cul-de-sac at the end, right?
Yeah, the brown one with the black metal
that-
roof.
Was that a Lamont Langworthy
Yeah,
house? Okay.
It was. Yeah.
And then it's got the killer backyard that goes around the back?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Good for 4 kids.
Still got the treehouse back there?
What?
Is there still the treehouse back there?
No,
Was there
that
one?
came down.
That came
brought
down.
it, But hopefully someday my husband rebuilt it.
Hi there. My name is Scott Gormley. I live at 946 Van Dyke, and I look over Alicia and Mike's house. The Bolsons over there, and Ryan's has been, as it's been constructed. And one could say I look down on them, but not really. But yes, it is. It's been quite an experience watching that house go up with 93 caissons that are 30 feet deep, 2.5 feet in diameter, phalanxes of cement trucks. Providing the Western Hemisphere's production of cement over a period of 2.5 years. Jackhammers when they determined that there are certain foundations were poured incorrectly and had to be removed. But it's something, and it's not Ryan's fault, and we want to welcome him to the neighborhood. It is an interesting phenomenon there, though, that it sort of serves as a megaphone coming up from Bluebird Canyon towards the side of the hill. And the size of the deck being asked for, of essentially 800 square feet, begs, I mean, if I had one that size, it would be party central. And consequently, I just think it's out of proportion, most especially when one considers the other deck area, the totality of it for that home. It's a beautiful home. It's going to be great to welcome into the neighborhood. But I think it's just an aggrandizement of something that's already very grand. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to speak on this element? Seeing none, we'll return to the applicant for a 3-minute rebuttal.
Thank you. And, we really do appreciate, the neighbors' concerns and, comments. And if we lived, adjacent to this house under construction, I'm sure that many of us would share those same concerns. I do apologize to the neighbors because we had a neighborhood meeting and we actually took a tape measure with the neighbors and we said, hey, let's pull it back to here. This is looking pretty good. Let's pull it back, on the sort of inland side. And then I went away on a honeymoon for about 2.5 weeks to Italy, and none of this stuff, in fact, I pulled up in Alicia's driveway, I think it was yesterday, to share that diagram with you. But anyway, so, we understand that it's a concern. The deck as proposed on top of the roof was 730 square feet with the green roof perimeter on two sides, the downward side and the inland side. It reduces the size of that deck to 370 square feet. So I think Alicia mentioned that her deck on her upper level, which is probably 3 or 4 feet above the level of our deck, was, I think, close to 300 square feet. So I think we're pretty comparable. I could be wrong about that, but I believe that's what you said. So it's a much smaller deck. It's going to have a beautiful green roof. And then Ashley spoke and mentioned that we were going to impact her views.
Wait a minute, are you saying you're going to shrink the size of the deck?
Yeah, in fact, we submitted this diagram into the city. So we brought this with us. This was not, I'm sorry for the confusion, Tom.
No. Yeah, I haven't seen this before, so.
I thought.
Let's let the applicant continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll just continue quickly. So what we're proposing is we brought this, so the area in green is a green roof perimeter, and it reduces the size of the proposed deck from 730 square feet to 370 square feet. We just did the math on that. It's a comfortable deck. We're not going to impact anyone's views because it's going to be a glass guardrail. So I don't believe that Ashley's views are going to be impacted, her ocean view from that beautiful Lamont Langworthy house. We're certainly, willing to agree to no umbrellas. I don't know if that's a condition that could be placed upon the project this evening, but with glass guardrails, I don't envision any impact to her ocean view.
Unfortunately, you cannot. In closing, Horace?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Let me ask.
We all have questions.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, Horace, could you someone put back that what you've shown right there, showing the reduction, what we just had on the screen. Okay, Horst, first of all, it doesn't look like it's been reduced by half with the green belt. Is that correct proportions?
Yeah, thank you, Tom.
An optical.
In fact,
it looks like a much bigger than.
In fact, I just asked John Claudio to double check that number because I agree with you. We're starting at 730 square feet, and we're removing that.
By my math, 370 is very close to half.
We'll have a number for you in just a second. I apologize that we don't have that ready.
By 16, it's 371.74.
Real quick, let me ask it this way. Do you have the dimensions of the green belt and of the remaining deck? In other words, what are the
The
dimensions?
250 square foot reduction as proposed.
250 feet?
Yeah.
And so what's the size? And well, I guess we can analyze the size is still about 480 square feet.
So
Well,
the,
we're coming up with 370 square feet.
the dimensions that were provided when I received this yesterday was it would be 16 feet 10 inches when measured from the bedroom wall outward, and the width would be 22 feet 1 inch
22 feet,
Yeah.
1 inch?
width. So from
Yeah,
top to
That's the
bottom.
gray area, Heather?
Yeah, the gray areas. So from where my pointer is now going down would be 22. And then from the bedroom walls outward would be 16 feet 10 inches.
Yes.
Well, that's,
375.
yeah, that's 370.
370.
And that's based upon the dimensions as shown for the rest of this particular plan? In other words, where did you get the 1610 and the 22-1? Is this the plan that we're looking
Yes,
at?
this is the plan. Mhm.
Do you see, I don't see the dimension, well, like maybe I do.
Small.
Yeah, that's small. It's right here.
Which one is this one? 1610?
Right.
The link one is this one, see that?
Yeah, yeah.
22.
Okay, well, then we'll go with those dimensions. And this is how it's going to look?
Yes.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
further?
I got my question
clarification?
answered. Debbie, go ahead.
Just a further clarification. So it's a little bit unclear. So are you measuring it from where you have your AC unit out, or are you measuring it from the wall out? And then that AC unit thing's going to be in the middle of that. I guess I'm really uncomfortable with having that whole AC thing on the deck, just because philosophically, I don't like to see mechanical equipment on decks or roofs or anything like that. And even though you're a genius at disguise and your architectural jewelry, and you know how much I appreciate that, Horace. I think with you converting that much mechanical room space, I'm really uncomfortable with you now having equipment on the deck. And so I would ask if you would consider putting it back in the mechanical room, and then that would actually give you more room on your deck. And then my second question is, you have your green on these two sides, but the privacy issue is on that opposite side.
I'm wondering.
So I'm just, I guess I'm asking if you would flip it, maybe, because that impact, then you couldn't walk right up to that edge and then look down onto her pergola. So that's kind of where, and I'm very uncomfortable trying to design anything because, you're very talented,
Well-
but those are the two things that I'm a little concerned
Well,
with.
I mean, on a broader question relating to that, I'm uncomfortable approving this without seeing a story pulled. I mean, the problem is that it has impacts. One, it was a big deck to begin with. And there's a we'll get into deliberate neighborhood compatibility. But, I think that's part of the problem. And I don't think it's fair to these neighbors. I mean, this is the first time I've seen
Don,
this.
do you have any questions for the applicant team or anyone?
I was just commenting
Right.
on what her.
I have a
her
quick
has.
question, just because I want to be
Go ahead,
clear.
MJ.
Mrs. Bolton, I think that was it. Bolton, okay. That side is the side that has no greenery at this time, is that
Yeah,
correct?
and the reason for that is because, as you can see in the model, well, it's hard to see in the model, actually. That bedroom, there's two bedrooms that open up onto the deck. The bedroom closest to Alicia's house, the door. we could-
Heather, can you pull up
I mean, to
8.23?
Debbie's point, we could probably find a solution where we do flip the green roof. I mean, I think that it is possible, but there is a door there. That's why we didn't put the green roof there, because as the door opens from the bedroom, it's our only connection to the deck. But we could have a landing in front of the door, and then we could start the green roof.
Yeah.
It's doable.
So that was going to be my question, given the AC units are kind of shifted towards the door that's on that, guess, south side.
Yes.
Maybe those could be the AC units is still part of a discussion, but if those were shifted over and then maybe there was a landing so you could get out onto the deck, but then the green roof was like a foot or two on that side.
Yes.
And then you could shift a little bit, shift the program a little bit more to the middle, but there was enough room to get out onto the deck.
Seems doable. yeah.
That could be, I think that could be doable. And then I guess from the AC unit, are these mini split component? Are these two mini split units?
They are. They're two it's AC condensers. You know, what I'm thinking is, why don't we just remove, I mean, I have to, confirm this with Ryan. I don't mean to take up so much of your time. Why don't we just move those two AC units to the, I guess that would be the inland side of the house, because we do have a deck that leads to a mechanical room. We can put the AC units over there on that side.
On the upper floor or down low?
What level is that? Is that one level down? One level down. Yeah, so it'd be one level down, Louis.
One
I
level-
mean, there is a walkway that leads to an AC, to a mechanical enclosure.
Are there already existing mechanical and AC units
Yes.
right there?
Yes. Yeah, we could move those to that level.
That's the walkway that he's adding deck on that side so
Yeah.
you can reach the mechanical room.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely a better location.
Can you provide a sheet and room name on the plans?
Yes.
It's where the lower level deck is being added along the side.
Why can't he just?
Are you,
Here.
or so you're talking about putting the units on that walkway area?
Yeah, it's that walkway, Tom, that you and I walked on.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Leads to a mechanical enclosure.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're.
Yeah, these AC units, the slim ones, they would go right up against the wall.
Yeah.
By code, we can't have AC units in the setback areas, but this would not be in the setback. So that would actually be sitting on top of an existing.
I know exactly where they are. You can
Yeah.
find them on the plans. At the next level down where the walkway is being.
The
proposed.
second level plan is up on the screen currently.
Yeah, where the,
Down here.
I think where the yellow is that right, Horst?
No, it's down where.
It would be down here where my cursor's moving back and
Cursor
forth.
is down here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's the
not
new deck.
highlighted, but that's where it is. No,
It's the
this
new
is,
deck.
yeah, I get it.
Yes,
So you're proposing on the walkway?
on the wall of the house, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's the mid-level?
Yes.
Mid-level.
Yeah, that's better.
All right, any other questions of the applicant or anyone in the general public? No? All right, we will close the public hearing and enter into discussion and deliberation. Louis?
Appreciate the neighbors. I mean, a lot of mutual conversations and comments. Obviously, the house was a big house and it already has its approvals. And I get the decking, especially as we get towards Bluebird Canyon, right? That creates echoes, it creates noise and that kind of stuff. In one regard, there are multiple level houses with multiple level decks. But how do we create that balance on both sides of this equation? Privacy for the neighbors and some functional usage for these guys that mirror the neighborhood. I do think that the reduction is the right thing. I think we discussed that at the size, so I'm glad to see that there was a significant reduction on that roof. I think the green space is the right component to kind of shrink it, given that it's all above existing structure. And it's a tool we use throughout Laguna Beach. For the south side, which is the neighbor to the left, I do think we need to try to get a 2-foot buffer off the edge of the building. But I think you need to create the access and then create the jog. I'm not necessarily saying you need to shrink the deck further. It just needs to kind of shift a little bit more to the middle. Because you did the 5.5 foot is a pretty good reduction that someone's not really on the railing. And I think that will create some balance for the immediate neighbor that has a structure to the left, and keep them from looking so down into the privacy that you were discussing. I think as I looked at your structure, you have a pretty significant solid wall that's kind of holding up a couple of the decks. That does create some privacy for this decking, not looking into your space down the hill. Plus there's trees and you have the gazebo. So by getting them off the edge, that creates the dynamic of privacy. I think as far as the air conditioner units, being able to relocate those to what is mechanical space, I would say is a more appropriate location and would be one that you would be able to get an over-the-counter permit for. So that would be acceptable change. As far as the neighbors further up Rembrandt that have the vacant lots, it is a consideration for the vacant lots that we do try to maintain the neighborhood availability for you to build and the right to build. It does present challenges that there isn't an existing structure there now, but it's not something I'm not necessarily taking concern of. I think the architect, putting that kind of arch of showing the pattern of development and kind of the general length, if you were to go to develop, you would fit in that same space. And I think that's available to you. But that lot does face more into the canyon, whereas this lot faces a little bit more open towards the ocean. That lot, however it would be built, would still be kind of an angled view towards the ocean. And I believe this decking doesn't impact that, as the structure's already been voted on and already is there. And that's the significant portion that's blocking the view. And also by tucking in and nipping and tucking those green roofs, it'll open up a few more angles on those upper levels if you do choose to decide, because that's where you would take access from. And if I'm still on the board, an upper level deck on the neighboring lot would probably be a very neighborhood compatible thing. So I don't see any loss of right of use that would occur for those vacant lots.
Did I hear a fourth term coming out of you, Louis?
No, I'm already in my fourth term, and April is it, guys.
Term.
But I appreciate the comments. I do think some of these changes are very compatible, and I can support the changes tonight.
Can I give a counterpoint?
Yep.
Go
And
for it,
then
Tom.
Just for others' considerations. Yeah. I look at the history of this thing, and what was proposed back in 2015 was a 1,453 square foot elevated decks. I think it had to include a deck in this area. It was essentially rejected and went through various iterations to come up with what the current proposal is, which is 867 square feet of deck. And that deck includes a substantial deck at the first level, which is, as I believe, 585 square feet, and a second level of 281. I looked throughout the properties there, and I didn't see anything approaching a 700 square foot deck. Now, I appreciate the reduction. I don't think the reduction is enough. In fact, I'd be almost tempted to say no, that this is essentially a rehearing of 2015. But I certainly feel that there's something missing with this 370 square foot. Let me ask a quick question, of course, if you don't mind. Did that 370 square feet include where the air conditioners were going, or did it exclude that?
It includes that.
Okay.
Perhaps if you
thought-
wanted to limit us to square footage, like to a certain number, maybe that's a cleaner way of doing
Well,
it.
and we could talk about that. The issue of it impacting the greenhouse, I took pictures of it, particularly I went back the second day and looked at it from that deck. And the big deck is fairly adjacent to both their mid-level and their upper level decks, which are much smaller and I think more consistent with the neighborhood. Similarly, at Mr. Lewis's house, there's no decks approaching this. I think this project already has ample decks. What I would consider approving is a deck that comes out about the same distance as the lower level or the mid-level deck, which is the 281 square foot, to be more of a consistent, kind of like the greenhouse, the house that spoke. In other words, to bring it back, and you don't need it since the air conditioners are gone, to be consistent. And it seems to me that makes sense, because what these decks feed are basically 2 bedrooms. You don't need, and I hate this word, but it comes up, a party deck. You have that at the first level. If you're talking about having those bedrooms gain the view of the ocean, which you have from the other decks as well. I didn't go all the way lower, but the mid-level deck is beautiful. You have a beautiful view of the deck. I assume the lower one has it as well. So make it a true bedroom deck that would come up, and we can go through exactly how far out it would come, but it would be consistent with, and I think that the bedrooms are entitled to a deck, but not the ones that jet out, even under the revised proposal, which doesn't look to me like it's half, but maybe it's the optical illusion. But make it consistent with the deck below. And I think that would make it neighborhood compatible, and that's something that I could support. But I can't support either the original application or the proposal that was just made.
Thank you, Tom. Debbie, do you want to go?
May I ask?
Go ahead,
Heather,
please.
something, not that you got to answer it right now. Can you get the dimensions or the length and the width for the deck he was discussing?
Yeah,
And
you
or
you
the
could
square
actually
footage?
put it up.
I'm curious, not that you got to answer it right now. Let's let Debbie talk. And then I think you brought up some good points for discussion.
That-
But
that's
let's
what I-
hear how everybody else goes. But if you can prep that for further discussion.
Okay, yes, well, I sincerely appreciate you moving the air conditioning units down. And I do think that that will give you that, I forget, it was like 4 or 5 feet out anyway. And so that would tuck your deck closer to your bedrooms. And I think that would help with the privacy impact. I am both from your deck and then from, from her perspective, there's an impact if you're walking all the way out to the edge or all the way out to the side. So flipping it or adding, all the way around, whichever, I think that there needs to be that, I think you said 5'6" was what you were pulling it in. So I think that 5'6", and again, if that 5'6", is that what you're saying gives you the 300 and something? That's what that does? Because the 5'6" didn't seem like it pulled it back from the leading edge enough. I think that would be sufficient probably on the side. But again, I just think I agree with my colleague that it needs to be smaller, but I think you're entitled to a reasonable deck up there. And I think with the greenery, I think it'll be beautiful. But, and I think with moving the equipment, that'll give you more area closer to your home. So that if there were an awning or shade or things like that, then it wouldn't be as impactful.
Thank you, Debbie. MJ?
Yeah, I concur with my colleagues on. I'm just watching Horst. I didn't know if he wanted to listen or not. If it's just you, who wants to listen to me?
We're listening, MJ.
Anyway, I think we need to pick a size, to your point, Horst, earlier when you
Yeah.
came out of order and mentioned about the size of the deck. We should pick a number, perhaps the square footage, wrapping the deck to relieve the neighbor on that one side by creating that little extension of enough to access the deck safely from the bedroom, and a kind of a consistent height and specific type of planting there. I think that's the way to roll. And as far as the air conditioners, I didn't have a problem with them there, but you're going to be very grateful Debbie brought that up because you weren't going to like those things up there when you're sitting there having your coffee in the morning, listening to I don't care, mini splits are loud. So, and they're not super loud, but you're going to appreciate that. So on behalf of them, Deb, thanks for your insight there. But yeah, we can find a number here that fits. I don't think it needs to be staked. I think that what's existing staked is like the worst case scenario, and we're actually going to be bringing it in. So that's my opinion. If we could talk about size.
Where I'm most concerned is that I don't want it coming out from the house more than what it is at the next level down for 2 reasons. One, it will have less impact on the greenhouse, the Bolison's house. And 2 is it will have less future impact on the 2 homes that haven't been developed, which while I appreciate and agree with your comments, Louis, we really don't know because they haven't been built.
So again, for the rules.
I would
which
like to
discussed,
see it staked,
it's
but
been
I think
staked
I could
to what
go along
the
with that.
Original proposal was.
Yeah.
And what they're doing now is reducing, and from my experience on the board, reductions to meet we can reduce from what was staked. We can't exceed it.
That's right.
Well, no, I
Without
understand, but we
requesting further
really
staking.
can't tell the impact on houses that aren't there in those 2 lots. And so I was saying, if you bring it back and make it a consistent deck with the lower level as far as it comes out from the house, and then we can talk about design. I'm less concerned about it going to the edges. If it's pulled way back, it can go to the edges as far as I'm concerned. Make it a consistent deck with the deck down below. I think it will have less impact all the way around.
But you get that there's no cantilever. You get that there's no cantilevering on this deck. It's all on the existing roof of the.
Oh, exactly right. It's just that rest will be green area or whatever makes sense. But basically, it was approved that way. And it was, in my mind, it's almost certainly, it was a deck there was rejected back in 2015. So I'm looking at it.
Quite likely.
So, oh, I think almost certainly, there's no
Well-
other place to
Well,
put
I
a
think,
deck.
I think we
So
got
my thinking is
consensus here,
looking
Tom.
at it anew, we're not bound by that.
Yeah.
That
Tom,
it
I
could
think
be
we
a
got-
normal upper.
Yeah, I think we've got consensus. Heather, do you mind pulling up the graphic with the plan view, and we'll give some guidance and then hear the applicant if they're willing to take that guidance.
You want to see a floor plan?
Yeah, floor
Okay,
plan view with
hold
the
on.
color graphic of the green roof. I think it was A23 or A22.
Yeah, the one we want to see is
Yeah.
the 281 square foot deck on level 2 if we have a floor plan of.
No, I don't think we want to see that, Tom. I think we've got consensus on the approach for the green room. So we'll take a stab at the approach for the third deck, and then we'll let you speak on your.
Well, I think Lewis wanted to see it. I certainly want to see it and see how far out it would go.
Yeah.
Tom, let me ask Heather and follow up the lower deck. For follow-up, the lower deck, what was the square footage on that one and the length and the width?
Showing 281, but
That friendly side. Hang on. Oh, it's gone the wrong way, I'm sorry.
how far does it come out from the building? Yeah, Horst, if you know, how far does the second level deck come out from the building?
Can I just maybe just interject quickly, save us all a little bit of time?
Maybe
I
about
was just doing the
15
math.
feet.
You know, right now we're proposing to pull the north end of the deck, you know, the furthest edge of the deck back 5'6" with the green roof. The dimension, the depth of the AC unit and the AC enclosure, because you have to have 3 foot of clearance, was 4'10". So what if we just pull the northern edge of the deck back the additional 4'10", so that the total is 10'4".
How far from the building would the deck run then, under your revised proposal there? How far?
Heather, you mind pulling up the graphic with the green roof on it?
So currently, this is the mid-level, level 2, and the deck from the bedroom wall out to the edge of the planter appears to be 15 feet, 2 inches.
So it would be 21.8 minus
Wait,
10.
By your calculator, Heather, so you're saying that the 281 square foot deck comes out 15 feet from the building toward the canyon?
It's not a perfect rectangle. Let me pull it back up.
That seems too
Let me
far.
pull it
One
back.
portion it's 15, I think, and the other it's like somewhere about 9 or 10.
Let's just assume it's probably around 10 on
So
that
this,
side.
this area here is 15, and then there's a dog out for the main bathroom. So this part of the deck is not as far out.
And I
So let me
think
try and
if
get
the measurements there, it's 9'4".
So let's just pick a.
Line for about 10. So how far are you proposing it come out at the?
I was coming up with 11 feet 4 inches from the outside face of the building.
I would approve a project at 10. I think 10 feet is an adequate deck for up there. And as far as I'm concerned, hear how the other board members feel. I would be fine from running it from edge to edge, to have 10 foot running from edge to edge.
Let Amir finish his comments
Yeah.
and where he wants to go with this.
Heather, you mind pulling up the graphic with the green roof?
Okay.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that. So I think there's kind of two elements that are working on this deck here. So the portion to the top of the page, there'll be a reduction from that edge back toward the rest of the deck, while still maintaining access for the doorway to the bedroom. So there'll be a reduction there. I think the appropriate amount would match the other side of roughly 4'9", if that's amendable to the applicant team and the rest of the board members here. Pertaining to that leading edge with the 5'6" setback, I'm not too concerned with that. I wouldn't say this needs to be pulled back to a 10-foot mark or by any means anything much more substantial than where it is currently. I think there's good design intent with the reduction there. I think that overall deck dimension comes out to roughly 20 feet, 8 inches. It sounded like the applicant team would be willing to reduce it to 11'4". I think that's totally fair. So with that, inclusive of the reduction on the top of the page, I think those two elements combined, I see no reason why we couldn't approve that tonight. I don't think that's a party deck by any means. I think that's a nice deck to capture a view from a bedroom that doesn't not necessarily otherwise have one. So
Can I just ask you a couple questions? Because I think we may be on the same page. So you're saying bring the deck that's on the side of the greenhouse back 5 feet, 6 inches, but have a walkway, and then bring the front of the deck facing Bluebird Canyon to be 11 feet, 4 inches?
yeah, I think I was
Yeah,
just gonna
if those are-
make it symmetric from the bottom of the page. There's a 4'9" dimension,
Yeah.
just so there's some symmetry up there with the reduction on that side.
So the side on the greenhouse would come back 4'9",
Yeah,
and then the side facing the canyon would come back to 11'4"?
yes.
I could support that tonight.
Do we have consensus on that?
11'4" from
Yeah.
the front,
From the face of the
and then
third level?
the, the lower, it doesn't have.
We're saying from
Yeah.
11'4" from this
And then
portion.
this side remains the same?
This side remains the same. The dimension on this side matches that outside, aside from the walkway outside the door.
Horace, do you follow that? Are you good with those numbers?
Well,
We are, thank you.
I
Yes.
was gonna say, could I just add,
Yep.
not to throw a monkey wrench, but I mean, I know engineering speak, but instead of 4'9", why don't we just say 5 feet and 11 feet?
5 feet, 11 feet, and 5 feet.
Right.
Five,
Five,
on each
five
side.
and 11,
Five,
rather
11
than
from
point two, point this. I mean,
I'm with that.
And you can, and your
There
door-
may be, there
and
may
you can
be a
maintain the access
point
out
of
there
contention on
with-
the door. Yeah, on
Yes.
this.
Yeah, thank you.
And the
Christine.
access can be reasonable access. They can work
Right.
it out with.
Hang tight. I think that bottom of the page might be constricted because they have an access door. If we were to increase the green roof, then that would impinge on the opening. Yeah.
So we just need enough.
is that what it is?
Solid
Yeah.
surface in front of the door so the door can open.
You want to give us
Comes
that
out
dimension tonight?
4 feet,
Horace?
4 feet, yeah.
So the green will start 4 foot out from the door on the greenhouse side.
Yes.
I don't know I think it's just the south side. but-
And again, I'm not an engineer, but I do recall that the threshold there was off. And are you gonna, if you have to add stairs, is that gonna push you out at all and make it have to be more?
That's a really good question. It actually works to our advantage that the threshold, that there's a substantial drop because the green roof, the planted green roof requires about 6 inches.
Yeah,
in height.
I think we're gonna run.
I think we are.
I'm gonna throw a motion out there. just
Okay.
to
Yeah, but
see
real
if
quick,
it'll-
my hat's off to the chair for bringing that together. That was a great combination of
Good job.
ideas. No, but Lewis will screw it up, no doubt, in the motion.
For clarification
Right.
on the condition, would it be helpful to,
Be5.
rather than saying where the green roof begins, is to say where the guardrails will be, and then the green roof would be beyond the guardrails?
I think that's an excellent suggestion, Heather. That's excellent.
Oh, yeah, the guardrails have to be before the green roof. No question about that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's always how it's done, right,
Right.
Horst? Yeah.
All right, let me take a stab at this. Item number 5.3, project location 954 Rembrandt Drive, that the board adopts resolution 2026-0779, approving design review 2026-07979, and coastal development permit 2026-0780. And finding said action exempt pursuant to CEQA section 15303 with the following conditions. The air conditioners the condensers being removed from this deck as proposed to the mid-level mechanical space, as long as it meets the standards down
It's
that
the
level.
walkway to the
The
mechanical
walkway
space.
to
That's
the
part of the
mechanical
application.
space as identified per our discussions. And then that the deck, the upper deck, which was the expansion as proposed, have reductions of green roof from the upside is the west side. The west side needs to be able to maintain access to its doorway, but at the minimum to the edge that it can exceed to create the access. But then the green roof needs to be extended into the middle by 4 feet 9 inches. The leading deck on to the Bluebird Canyon side needs to be reduced to have a green roof of 11 feet. And then that the green roof on the north side needs to be 4 foot 9 feet. And then
We were going to make them 5 instead of 4, 9
it
on
needs
both
to be
sides.
4, 9, so it maintains the door length.
right,
That's why,
yeah,
that's why,
there's
given the
correct.
measurements that are on here that in the discussion,
Okay.
4, 9 was, I think, the right measurement to maintain the door access on the other side, which is why we're leaving it there versus 5 foot as recommended.
And is the green roof 11 feet or the deck 11 feet?
The green roof needs to be 11 foot from the edge to the railing.
Yeah, the green roof begins 11 feet from the edge of the building. And then the only other thing I would add is that the railing will be between the deck and the green roof, or the green roof portion
Right.
of the deck.
And the railing material is still glass. That's
It's
the
clear
motion.
glass. I'll second.
Sarah, please call the roll.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Bauta.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Heather, Heather, you good?
Continue with a regular order of business. We will move to item number 5.4, Design Review 2025-2532, Coastal Development Permit 2025-2533 for the project located at 1375 Circle Way. Ex parte, please.
Yes, I met with Tim Nickel at the site.
As did I.
Went to the site, spoke to Tim.
Went to the site, spoke to Tim Nickel.
Went to the site and spoke with Tim Nickel.
All right. Matthew Gilroy, do you have a presentation for us? If you don't mind expediting, please.
You got it. All right. Good evening. Tonight I will be discussing item 5.4, which is a request for design review and coastal development permit at 1375 Circle Way. This item was continued from the April 23rd DRB hearing. This is the first substantive design review board hearing. Staff has received several public correspondences, all in support of the project. The applicant is proposing additions to the existing single-family residence, including additions 15 feet above grade, interior remodel, roof modifications, exterior alterations to doors, windows, and color, new elevator, new landscaping, and associated site improvements, including hardscape to an existing single-family residence. Staff recommends that the board adopt resolution number 25-2532, approving design review and CDP, finding said action exempt from CEQA. Staff, along with the applicant, Tim Nickel, and the property owner, will be available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Any questions of staff? Seeing none, the public comment is declared open. Applicant team, you have 5 minutes if you wish to use it.
Tim Nickel, project architect. Thanks, Matthew. I don't have much to add. It's a pretty straightforward project. I worked carefully with the neighbors and have all of their support. And I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Tim. Any members of the public wish to speak pertaining to item number 5.4 located at 1375? Seeing none, we close the public hearing. Tim, you have 3 more minutes if you wish to use them.
No, thanks.
All right, close the public comment. Any questions of the applicant or staff?
No questions, Chair.
Thank you, Louis.
So Michael, what magic are you going to be doing here?
I think the landscape is the difficult side of this, so I'm glad you're here. I have a list of questions. Let me begin.
You trimmed that tree, didn't you?
Kick off comment.
All right,
You're ready
we'll
for that.
we'll close the public comment and the board will enter into deliberation. Louis, kick off comments.
So I think this is a very modest additions and usability for the house with the addition of the elevator. The outdoor improvements are relatively mild, but consistent with the oceanfront characteristics of the neighborhood. So all in all, it's a beautiful little update to this home. I can support it fully. It meets the design review criteria and the coastal development permit as outlined by staff.
And I can as well. Staff, great presentation and great report. And I think, this is a very tight neighborhood, all the houses are very, very close together. And I appreciate the way you have worked with the neighbors and really were very considerate of tiny little corridor views when we were out at the site. So very respectful. And it's a modest ask, and I think it's going to be a great improvement and a great landscape. So I can certainly support your project.
Yeah,
MJ?
thank you. Always grateful for the work you guys bring before us. It's modest changes, all design review compatible, so I can support the project tonight.
Okay, then Debbie stole my thunder. I mean, all the projects that I've done with you, Tim, where it has impacts, you're very thoughtful, and you were kind of showing me how you did this and did that to minimize the impacts on one of the coolest beaches in Laguna Beach. So I really appreciate that. I think everything you're doing it makes sense. It works with the house. It maintains the ambiance of the house without interfering with the neighbors. And in fact, you have somewhat of a small house that you're keeping as a small house. I think another architect might have been more challenging for us. So I appreciate your projects. I appreciate this project, and I could support it tonight.
Thank you, Tom. I'll continue to echo what fellow board members said here today. Thanks for making our job easy, Tim. We appreciate the letters of support from neighbors. I know that could be sometimes difficult to get, but it tells us that you're going ahead and doing your due diligence to make these projects approvable. The design's phenomenal. It's design review compatible. I could definitely also approve this. I'll go forward with the motion to adopt Resolution 2025-2532, approving design review 2025-2532 and coastal development permit 2025-2533 for the property located at 1375 Circle Way and finding said action categorically exempt pursuant to CEQA guidelines 15301.
Second.
Motion. Sarah, call the roll.
Board Member Coveney?
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs?
Yes.
Board Member Weil?
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve?
Yes.
And Chair Bauta.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Last item in the regular order of agenda here tonight, item 5.5, design review 2026-0375, coastal development permit 2026-0413 for the property located at 31461 Coast Highway. Ex parte, please.
Chair, I met with the applicant and the owner on the site.
As did I with both of the applicant team. Mhm.
We met the contract. There's some workers.
Yeah, we met the
We just kind of broke and entered and just walked
I know, I
around.
just walked
But
in.
we saw the site.
I saw.
And I did speak with Larry Noakes.
I visited the site and I spoke with Alex Villapendo. We'll move to the presentation.
It's me.
Oh, hey, Sarah. All right, Sarah, go ahead with the presentation.
All
Thank you.
right. Good evening, members of the Design Review Board. Item 5.5 is request for design review, a coastal development permit for deck expansions at 31461 Coast Highway. The site is located in the R1 low density residential zone and fronts both Coast Highway and Bluff Drive. It is bound by a vacant building site to the north, West Street Public Access Way to the south, and West Street Beach to the west. The site is currently under construction for a single-family residence with a guest room, a one-car garage, an attached two-car garage, elevated decks, a pool and spa, and landscaping. The project began its design review process in February 2014 with concerns focused on mass and scale, view equity, privacy, lighting, vehicular access, and improvements near the bluff edge. After multiple revisions, the project was reduced significantly in size by over 3,000 square feet and reduced in height, and ultimately received design review approval in 2016 and adopted a mitigated negative declaration. The project before you tonight proposes to expand and combine 4 previously approved deck areas into 2 larger decks. Each deck will be located within the footprint of the home's existing flat roofs on the entry level and middle level. At the entry level, 2 previously approved decks shown in red will be expanded into 1 contiguous deck for a combined area of approximately 700 square feet. At the middle level, 2 previously approved decks will be expanded for a combined area of approximately 960 square feet. As seen on the west elevation, the deck expansions shown in blue will utilize interior portions of the roof on both levels and extend approximately 6.5 feet to the south on the entry level. As seen on the south elevation, the middle deck will extend approximately 7.5 feet to the west. And on the north elevation, the entry level deck will expand approximately 11 feet to the west, and the middle level deck will extend approximately 19 feet to the west. And the proposed total deck area for the single-family residence will be approximately 1,625 square feet and will be constructed with 42-inch glass guardrails. Staff has received correspondence with concerns regarding the scale of the proposed improvements and privacy. Staff has analyzed the applicant's request and has considered the project history and finds that the deck expansions comply with the design review guidelines, the municipal code development standards, and provisions of the LCP for coastal development permits. And staff recommends that the board adopt the attached resolution approving the design review and coastal development permit and finding the project to be within the scope of the adopted mitigated negative declaration. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll now move to the applicant.
I think we just have a question real quick.
Yes, questions for the
Is
staff.
there a first level deck exist as part of the project
No,
already?
just the entry level, middle level, and then the lowest level terrace.
Does the lower level have a deck?
Yeah, well, it's an on-grade patio.
An on-grade patio, and that's not included in the 1,600 or 1,625 square feet. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions of staff?
Yeah, one more, and this might be Sarah or Bill. In the presentation, you mentioned the vacant lot next door, but
Yeah.
I recall from being on the dais, it's gone through entitlement process. Is that a fully entitled building site
Yes.
next door now?
It was approved at the Coastal Commission in May, so it's fully approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any
A
other
horse
questions?
project, as I recall.
Any other questions of staff? We'll open the public comment and the applicant team. You have 5 minutes if you wish to choose it. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Board members, thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. My name is Alex Villalpando. I'm with CJ Light Associates, the architect. This is David Berry, the owner. Basically, what we have is a project that I've been working on for a very long time. As Sarah explained, we went through a lot of design review to get it to where we are. Essentially, when most of you guys visited the site, it kind of made sense to have a little bit bigger decks. Again, we were trying to just kind of infill. What would happen is you have a deck, bunch of roof, and then another deck, and it just seemed kind of weird that it was kind of not, it was useless space. You're going to see deck, and I understand we were just trying to infill, and then we did push out a little bit, which we taken some of the board member comments, and we came up with some reductions. So we were aware of that, and also working with our neighbors, so we were aware of their concerns. And that being said, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you can see some of the graphics. We're infilling, especially in the entry area, just pushing it out about 7.5 feet or 8, expanding it to the side about 7 feet, actually about 6 feet. And then the lower deck, the mid-level deck is obviously the little bit bigger one, but it is way below. Can't even see it from Coast Highway. I don't think anybody has even a view of it, if they even saw our strings. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And again, I don't know, we might have some people in the public that might have some comments, but I believe it's we try to be we try to develop what made sense. So, anything, David?
Are we going to talk about the reduction?
We will talk about the reduction, but
Is that time to do that now?
I guess we can. I didn't know if I could present it now.
Should we talk about the
Sarah?
reductions that we were proposing now?
Yeah, I think maybe I want to hear from the public first. So
Okay.
if you want to just comment on the proposed project, and then we'll come back and we'll give you a chance to rebuttal.
that's fine.
Yeah. Anything else on the proposed project?
The only reason that I would, just for consideration, we hear what they're proposing first.
It'll happen in a rebuttal, Tom. It'll happen when he.
No, I understand, but it would give the public the opportunity to react to exactly what they're proposing rather than kind of shooting in the dark.
All right, we'll go with that, Tom. Thanks for the suggestion. Go ahead. We'll give him another minute. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
do
be quick.
briefly. Give
It'll
us
be
the
quick.
dimension.
Go ahead.
Sarah, can you show those reduction exhibits I sent over?
The next page.
There we go. So in this level, we realized, we want to create a little bit of buffer to our neighbor to the south. So what we did is we had a planner proposed, and we just figured we can wrap that same planner around, create like a little green space, pull the deck in back, about 3.5 feet, 3 feet, I think it is. And then that reduces that deck area, gives you a little bit, I think we're reducing that by like over 115 square feet or so. And then as you move down to the lower deck or the mid-level deck, we took Tom to heart. He said he wanted to see something pulled back at least 5 feet. And so on one section, it's 5 feet from the edge. On the other section is 9 feet. And basically creating kind of a squared off deck. And again, just to create some of that relief. And then we reduced that about 200 and I think it was 230 square feet. 180 square feet reduction there. So
I'm sorry, I didn't hear 180.
180 square feet. So with total reduction is about almost 300 square feet. And so those are just things we wanted to do right off the bat, and hopefully was just a goodwill from our client who wanted to respond and respond to some of the board member comments. So thank you.
Thank you for that. We'll now open it up to the public. Please, if you have comments and you wish to speak on this element, you'll have 2 minutes. Please come up to the podium.
The overhead view, again, the Google Maps that you have image of the property.
If you don't mind, when your time starts, just state your name and your site address.
Yeah, your second image right there. Okay. Hello, I'm Nicole Strathman. I'm at 31461 Coast Highway, essentially. My front door's on Coast Highway. And when she pulls it up, I'm the orange, the dark orange there. I'm immediately in front of this project. I remember seeing Alex. I was very pregnant last time I was here. My daughter's entering Thurston, is in Thurston. That's how long this project's been going on. So the issue I have with this is actually I'm responding to Noakes's comment about putting trees along there. Any planting is it's already wrecking my view. I'm working with James Henry right now to put a second story on our house. So you'll probably see me again. James told me that I was not allowed to put a deck on my house, that I couldn't put a rooftop deck. And so now we're here asking, looking at a rooftop deck that is bigger than my house. My house is 1,500 square feet. So what I'm saying is I just want this property to be finished. I'm tired of looking at it. My daughter has never seen our ocean view without a construction site in front of it, ever. So
Graduate high school.
she's going to be, that's what I've been joking about is she's going
That they haven't
to.
started the one next door.
Yeah, I mean, the high-speed rail is going to finish before this house, I feel like. So I'm just asking you, just let it, just have it go, let it be finished. No more additions, no more changes. I'm already getting blinded by 8 months ago, they installed like a skylight. And for 2 hours a day, it blinds me. It goes right into my window. The sun hits it. And I thought it was supposed to have covering on it or something. And it's a skylight that just blinds me right in front of my house. So I have to close my blinds and not look at the construction site on the ocean view. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to? Larry, come on up.
Good evening, Chair Bauta and members of the Design Review Board. I'm Larry Noakes, and I'm working with Dan Haspert. And Sarah made this thing sound like such a walk in the park when she was talking about the design review history of this thing, that it was really more like a slog through Stalingrad if you were actually there. I was working with Alex and his team, and we went through it all. I'm not really here to oppose this project. Pat was nice enough to reach out to Dan Haspert, who I'm representing here tonight, who lives next door. And Dan was concerned about the decks, and he was concerned about the impacts on the privacy. When this house first came through I guess in September 2016, I was just going back and reading some of the findings that were made. And under the privacy consideration, it said the staff has not received any concerns with respect to privacy, therefore the criterion had been met. That was the extent of the discussion. Well, there were no concerns about privacy because the deck program was not what it is and what is being proposed here. Dan's concern about the decks was that it turns these into living and activity areas, and they are sort of predominant toward his house. So the arrangement that was made between Dan and with Mr. Berry, well, the pen just fell down, but the arrangement that was made was that there could be some vegetation, kind of a privacy hedge or a mitigating hedge that would be planted in order to mitigate those sort of privacy impacts, which made a lot of sense to me. Now, I'm hearing some opposition to that for the first time. I don't know what impacts those would have on the neighbor property. But it seems to me, and I've drafted a proposed finding, I sent it over to Pat, I hope I sent it over to Bill, I sent it to all of you, basically revising finding number 11 on the privacy, to just acknowledge that, yes, there is a privacy concern, but that can be mitigated by the planting of trees. And I think our request would be that if we could modify finding number 7 in the resolution, or paragraph number 7 in the resolution, which basically says under landscaping, it says the proposed project is exempt from providing landscape plan due to the scope of the work being limited to deck expansions. Well, it is the deck expansions that create the need or the request for the additional landscaping. So we would request that number 7 be modified, and that under the privacy finding, that it be modified as or similar to the one I have proposed. And Pat, I don't know if you received that or not from Denise today.
Yes, I did.
Okay. I think it makes sense to suggest that, acknowledge at least that the privacy issue is in play, but that the neighbors, the concerns of the neighbors will be mitigated completely by a vegetation remedy. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to, any other comments? It looks like someone's coming on up.
Thank you. Dan Haspert, 31501 Bluff Drive. Whoever thought there'd be a design review meeting that would get out before lumberyard closes? This is new to me. David shouldn't be blamed for the sins of the past. The privacy issue became more significant when a previous discussion with a landscape architect honored that a huge cement wall with huge footings would kill all the privacy planting between these two houses. So here, Dave here has this huge lot with decks that now every owner wants less deck space and less looking in, but they're very close. You could pass a cheese tray to the other person's desk. So when the landscape architect and I met previously, he said, yes, we understand this huge cement wall with the footings will kill the trees. Well, we came back from a trip, and the wood fence with caissons was never built. Within 90 days, 3 or 4 of the huge trees that would not impact a view from your house, but would keep you from seeing lots of deck, were dead. So what Dave and I am so grateful is that, yes, I wish there was less deck and expansion, but we thought that the replacement with 3 very large and in a resolution that would make sure they were maintained, large, say 36-inch box trees, could be the Melaleucas that died, could be Southern Malaloya alta is also loved by the city, and the salt spray be put back so that we're not looking at each other across the deck. They're the primary entertainment spaces for both houses. Do we wish that those trees had never died and the fence became a wall again and killed it? Because we've been looking at a construction site. The first gentleman came up in 2008 to discuss it with me. So we would love this to be over, but this isn't gonna, I don't believe it will expand the amount of time you need. We would be grateful for a rapid resolution and to have a binding resolution that means these trees need to be installed, monitored, and without irrigation that fails and kills trees. That would make me want to make sure that I speak in support of Mr. Berry's concerns and his wish to have a deck that, would I be happier it wasn't there? But if we expand it and privacy, I think it'll enhance both of our properties, because with this huge lot, he shouldn't have to look into another neighbor's deck. It should be some greenery. So I hope it'll make whoever lives in this house ultimately much happier. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. All right, any other members of the public wish to speak on this? We'll return to the applicant. And if you would comment on the trees and maybe a proposed alternate, that would be helpful.
Can I do that? Yeah. Hi, I'm David Berry. So after approaching Dan, we talked about the trees. I think the trees are a good idea. I will assure my neighbor across the street that she will not, where they're being placed is between on a lower level. You'll never be able to see them from the street. They will never impact her house in any way. I'd be happy to show her, but they are between my property and the public stairs. And I understand, people say, oh, we don't want to see more decks. I understand, but they have decks, as Dan has a deck. So I'm basically coming out right across from his deck. So we heard the concerns. So he proposed 3 36-inch box.
Sarah, why don't we hold it, pause the time? It looks like there's some kind of a procession for graduation.
High
schoolers are going by.
Graduation is heading by, so congratulations to the class.
They're going over to Irvine Bowl right now. That's
We'll reset the time when you get going again.
I think that's the last bus.
At least it wasn't the fire truck.
That's true.
So sorry about that. Continue with that thought. Go ahead.
So Dan proposed 3 36-inch box Melaleucas, maybe 25 feet tall. I don't have any issue with that. I actually think it's a great idea, and I think it will give us both privacy without affecting anybody above us on the other sides in any way. And I'd be happy to do that. So I have no problem with what Dan is proposing. And in fact, I support it. I think it's a good idea. We pulled the decks back in after, we heard some comments. I was kind of like, you know what? They're right. We should pull them back in some. And because it's not really they're big enough. So I believe we pulled them back in, because the issue was, I found this so awkward that you go out and you're on your deck, and then there's another deck on the other side and you're looking at roof. It feels like I'm at a cheap motel, looking over and seeing roof. I shouldn't see that. You know what I mean? So now we're going to have more, assuming we get approved, we would have more green some more symmetry. And I think what we proposed is a lot better than even what we proposed the first time, but it's much better than what's there now because it's very awkward. We're just trying to make, things work for the house. So thank you very much. I don't know if you had any other questions. of me.
Yeah, we'll continue. We'll roll it right into questions. I've got a question pertaining to the trees. Any way to locate the proposed trees? That'd be super helpful, I think, for, visual.
Do you have,
Yeah.
do you have the past approved landscape? I
Yeah,
mean,
is
there's,
it in there?
there's,
Because
no, that's just a topography site.
I need to get
That's
some
a topography
assurance
survey
with
from when the lot was
an
vacant.
application that doesn't include a landscape plan that could block somebody's view. I need to get a level of comfort. I know you're
Yeah.
saying it sincerely. I'm not questioning.
Yeah.
I hear.
This is the landscape plan that's approved, and I want to clarify two things.
What
with
page
Bill.
is it?
Do you,
No, look at it's not in our book. It's,
Oh, okay.
Sarah's put it on, okay. So I want to clarify two things. One, that what we approve, even though what you're requesting today doesn't trigger a new landscape plan to be recorded. However, the prior approved landscape plan, regardless of this approval, is still the governing body of what the landscape plan needs to be when your project is finished. Is that correct? So no matter what we approve, or even if we make modifications to this, this is the document that we're trying to work off to maintain that privacy we've been discussing.
I think the intent is to just add to it.
No, wait,
Yeah,
wait a minute. I
yeah.
think what you're driving at, does this include the trees that were removed? Is that what you're
Well,
driving at?
no, the trees that were removed were the existing on the vacant lot. Because
Okay.
if you know the history of kind of this project, which I do a little bit more.
Oh, I see. So when they
long
dug it
time.
up, but, okay, I get it.
So there were trees there along the public walkway that goes down West Street, and it's quite treed on both sides of the walkway. And that's what creates that magical kind of, you're walking through the trees through this crazy staircase, and then you pop out to an even crazier staircase in the ocean. It's part of the beautiful element of what is West Street. And so there is an element, I think, that the prior board was trying to maintain a significant landscape along that private walk or the public walkway, which is why I see hedges and trees kind of all along the stair side.
Yep.
But I think if I'm looking at the topography from the survey that you guys were producing, where it aligns compared to your deckings, is we're really looking at elevation 70 to 90 along the walkway.
I can't see that.
I know
from
it's
here,
really small.
but
You can't see it on.
What I can tell you is,
But
do you see the stairs at the bottom left that are leading down? That's a pool equipment enclosure.
Yeah.
Those stairs, that's the area where I guess some of those trees may have not lived. And I know there was one tree that was growing over from Dan's side to our side. That one looks like it's not going to make it. But that's the area where he's looking to, and that's the gap. That's right where everything else is pretty nice and infilled. There's one spot, maybe 20, 30 feet. That's that's probably even with those stairs, about the second half of the stairs down to those trees. That's the spot that we're talking about. And it's so low. If you go stand at anywhere on the top, it will not, you'll see it won't affect. I mean, you can always
Thank you for that.
confirm that.
So like where the dots are, like in the middle of the landscape plan, kind of where, if you can circle that, Sarah, just the dots with the circles?
The trees.
You can see
the trees?
These aren't trees, these are small plantings. This is the area and zone that I'm understanding the Melaleucas is prescribed to go. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure what.
Right, yeah, she's getting a circle. Yeah,
Oh.
kind of right from right there, and maybe move the circle a little
More to
further
the left.
a little further keep the circle on the right, but
And the
expand
circle
it
needs
to
to
the
be much smaller,
right.
the length.
Can you tell how far below PCH that is?
It's so PCH is at an elevation of 120,
Yeah.
or give or take, a couple. I'm just trying to use round numbers.
And
So it's
that's
about 120. The
And
height
this is about 77, I think.
yeah. So when I'm saying 70 to 90,
Yeah.
is kind of the elevation range.
I
where we need to
honestly think
increase the trees.
it's much smaller. If you take the right side and bring it all the way down to like the edge of the stairs, that's really or half the size. You're not going
Can
up
we
that high.
condition that the trees go no higher than the elevation of PCH?
Well, I was
Oh,
gonna.
they'll be nowhere near. So I'll give you an idea. When he says 20 to 25 feet, that's going to put him, I don't remember the exact numbers. Maybe Alex does, but it's the top of the trees is going to be right at about just above the deck, the top deck.
So the top deck's elevation is approximately 103,
What we're calling the entry level deck?
which is the mid-level deck that he's trying
Not
to.
entry level.
The mid-level deck.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what they,
Well, the upper one is what's been called
The smaller
entry level deck.
Yeah.
So it's a smaller one.
yeah.
Right.
It'd be pretty much like at the height of, right around the guardrail of the smaller deck.
So we can limit the height of those trees to that.
So
Yeah.
here's what I was
Yeah, that
thinking.
sounds good.
Was the roof?
That would not interfere with views from the other side of PCH.
No.
Okay.
So I think that works out.
Can I
ahead,
interject,
Debbie.
gentlemen? Okay, first of all, the landscape plan that was approved certainly was before construction. Clearly, some trees or lots of things have died, right? So number one question, did staff actually verify existing plantings that may have, if there were any existing that, or was there nothing there and these were all proposed?
In other words, does the landscaping plan call for any existing landscaping to be maintained? That's probably a.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I don't-
didn't review the
Okay, okay, okay. So,
previously
yeah,
approved
because we didn't
landscape
have,
plan.
you didn't really have to. No, I understand.
Yeah.
So,
They're still bound to this landscaping plan, if that's your question.
I understand, but this landscape plan, from my understanding, was proposed thinking that these other trees were not going to die, right? So I think that what's called for is a modification of this landscape plan to include some major trees along that side, which you yourself are actually proposing. So I think we need a modification to this existing submitted landscape plan that has, the species, the maintenance, the height, all the usual stuff done. I don't want to stop the approval of what we are tonight, but I think that the condition, let me ask staff, that the condition could be that you are required to come back within, I don't know, 6 months or whatever, in order to basically
Update.
bring us a modified, detailed landscape plan that addresses all of the
Come back to us?
issues. Yes.
Or do you
I
think to sit?
I think we can add that to the, we could continue.
Do we have, well,
Okay, we could continue this. I still have some issues with the size of the deck, but as far as the
Oh,
landscaping
okay.
plan goes, we can continue this to include, to require a landscaping
landscape
plan
plan.
be submitted, and then we
Well,
can take
think we
care of
need
it.
to do
in this
that. I mean, this is a deck review. Let's roll into it and just kind of see how this shakes out. We'll close the public comment.
May I-
We're talking about 3 trees. We're talking about
May I
decks.
say one thing?
They want mutual privacy. It seems like they're amicable to Larry's proposal.
May I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm just hoping that we can come to some conclusion without continuing. Here's the reason why. There's like when you're taking deck, you're taking roof and you're converting it to deck, there's engineering concerns. And I want to keep moving on the project. I know everyone wants it done. We're really towards the tail end of it to where the heavy lifting's been done. And I'm just trying to keep everything going.
Yeah, I think we can propose a note that suggests that Sarah has purview post approval.
Why don't we talk about that in deliberation?
That's great. Yeah,
I
great.
appreciate no one likes a continuance, but we need to figure this out
Yeah.
and make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
So let's go into.
Yeah, so we'll close the public comment and roll into deliberations. Who wants to begin?
Here, you mind if I start?
Go for it, Tom.
All right. First of all, with respect to the privacy with the trees, I don't think that there's a need to get a modified landscaping plan. We can condition this on the planting of those trees, so long as it's up to the height of the railing of the entry-level deck. I don't think it's going to interfere with anybody's views. And I saw it right away. Probably I want the trees there if we don't agree to a larger deck. So that's that. I'm troubled by just the sheer size of the mid-level deck. I suppose I could okay the entry-level deck, but the mid-level deck is so large. Now, it's not just that it doesn't impact, it creates a precedent down along the beach. There's I don't think that we should be approving huge decks that don't fit within neighborhood compatibility that we don't want to see on a lot of other homes. Now, I appreciate how much you've reduced that deck, and including to my comments, because it kind of hit me. I can go along with the entry-level deck, even though I think that's very large as well. Reducing the upper-level deck, or the mid-level deck, which serves just the master bedroom and the second bedroom off the deck, just seems to me to be just way too much. I mean, even with the reduction, you're at over an 800 square foot deck. I think it needs to be brought in more. I agree with you. I don't think that having two decks separated by a lot of roof makes any sense. And I think bringing it back further to bring it kind of in line, more with I would like to see it at about 500 square feet. And I'm interested to hear what my colleagues say. But you can do along the lines that we talked about with the Rembrandt project, Horse, where there's a green area. Bring the deck in to where it is one deck, but it doesn't extend so far. And again, this isn't primary living space. This isn't the living room, the kitchen, the family room, the entertainment areas. These are bedrooms. And so I think that, kind of just from a ballpark, I'd kind of like to not see them go out more than 20 feet. The entry-level deck, again, looks a lot smaller to me in terms of the width compared to the other deck. I would at least require the other deck be reduced an additional 200 square feet or so by just bringing it back. So those are my comments. I'm interested in what my colleagues have to say.
Thank you, Tom. I'll jump in. I think the proposal they made was great. I also think your suggestion to 20 feet, that isn't a big impediment. It looks like it's currently shown at roughly, what do we have here? Yeah, it's like 18 now. Yeah. So I think it's well merited on the reduction that they proposed. I would be open to seeing the Melaleucas, the 3 plantings proposed by Larry. It sounds like the applicant's open to that as well. It's going to maintain privacy. I think the unique part about these oceanfront properties is that they've got the privacy aspect. The ocean waves crash in, usually reduce some of the noise up front there. I've been fortunate enough to work on projects all along the coast, and this is one of those things where I think it opens up the unique circumstance and meets the design pattern development. There's quite a few properties along Lagunitas that host large decks, and we've approved them in the past. So yeah, I'd be open to that 20-foot mark. I think it's met in their new proposal. I'd also be open to the trees, but I think pertaining to the decks, I think this meets the design review criteria for a project and can be approved tonight with proposed language that Sarah has further review of a landscape plan, and city staff can confirm that existing trees and plantings meet the proposed landscape plan in addition to the Melaleucas. Who wants to go next?
Go ahead.
I just want to check the 20-foot width is.
I was kind of using that I'm thinking more of square footage reduction and bringing it back.
Okay, so there's 2 decks.
Just so it's clear, 20 foot wasn't based upon actual measurements.
Okay.
Could you bring up the proposed reduction?
Just overall size of the deck.
So
The mid-level deck.
the mid-level deck
Yeah.
from the bedroom door out
Yeah.
is 20 feet.
Yes.
And then it runs the length of the house.
Yeah, Sarah's going to pull it up now, and this is the
Because there's
proposed
some
reduction.
articulation there, so I just want to make sure we pick the
So
wall.
are you saying the green comes out from the house 20 feet?
It's actually less than that as proposed. That's why I was thinking it's a good amount where it is right now with this proposed reduction, which we're seeing today for the first.
Yeah,
time.
it's definitely an improvement. I'd pull it back more to bring it to a deck that's around
The
600
blue
square
area
feet.
that's presently active, what is that? What is the depth
That was a
of that?
previously approved deck.
And how deep was that?
That
I don't have-
was
sorry.
12 and a half feet
Okay,
It's 20 feet.
or
of-
all right,
12 feet.
so,
12 feet.
so the green area that you have active then seems appropriate. And then if you are looking down into roof, then perhaps you add green on that roof there when you bring in the lower deck,
The red
We're
area.
proposing all that as green, the pink portion, as
Uh-huh.
we're proposing all that as green.
The red portion. Uh-huh.
Or, yeah.
Super.
Okay, so then you won't even see below. Okay, so that's great. So then the next deck down as well, that's going to come into being 20 deep? Is that how you're, next deck up?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going backwards. So.
It's
all
about
right,
17 feet from the present.
Okay. So we'll leave it, are you going to leave it as is then, or are you going to make it?
It looks like they're reducing it to about, what's that, 14? Is that right, Alex?
Yeah, the center section where it's like the thinner section is only 9 feet. So it's not that wide. As it gets down to the blue, it's probably like maybe about 12, 13 feet as it goes toward the exercise room. So yeah, I mean, it looks like it's probably about 14 feet, 15 feet, and then it narrows down and then it tucks away, towards the office. So the whole idea was to sort of make it just symmetrical. It just, we had these jogs, and I think they were a product of years back when we were trying to make this all work. But it was kind of an odd thing. And now we have this jiggy joggy planner and some other things. Like, it made sense to like, hey, we'll take this line, we'll make it straight. We'll add some planting like he agreed to, where the little plants you see on the screen, wrap it around. Now we have greenery in that area, which then, kind of just makes it just nicer. So.
Okay, so I'm sorry, guys, and I'm a little slow tonight. So whatever this larger
Where's that?
deck is, that's going to be
That's what I
20,
figure is like 14 feet.
right here, this one.
That one.
It's coming out to 20.
20,
No, it's 14.
24 inches just from that one side.
This is wing. Okay,
Oh.
good. So the one thank you for helping me. Okay, that's fine. And I like that you're adding green. I think that helps break up the mass. It gives it a softer look, even though you have trees and a lot of landscaping. That's quite a massive building. So thank you for doing that. The only other thing I'm going to take advantage of being here is I live in this neighborhood and I drive down West Street and I've been seeing this house forever. And you have fencing all around it. If I can have you make an effort to clean that area up and
We actually,
rewrap it and
we actually took it, what we did, because we're at the tail end now, and I don't think it's as dangerous as it used to be.
how tail end are you? Got a lot
Well,
to
I
do.
To me, a year and a half is a tail end on a house like this.
When you drive it
'Cause-
every day, it's
Yeah,
just a
but
lot.
I took the green fence down, most of it. I'll have the rest of it down by next week. We still have just the chain link, but working to put up the 42-inch guardrail. Again, it's we're still going to be doing utilities and stuff right there, so I want to do that. But the green is down. We redid all of the sandbags. We got rid of all the trash. I understand we could have
Okay.
done better.
Yeah,
so-
respectfully, it was pretty gruesome there for
No,
quite
I
a long time.
understand. I
So-
apologize.
So please
but
make the effort.
It's
on
taken
doing
care of. I actually have pictures.
You
if you-
guys
if
were
they-
cleaning it up while we were there. So
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you for doing
Yeah,
it.
well,
Yeah, no,
for years of not,
it kind of got away from us, but it's clean.
Back to the deck.
Yeah, no, it's important because this is a neighborhood. We have to look out for our neighbors and I'm telling you, it was bad.
I agree.
Does someone want to take a stab at the language so Debbie can hear it before?
I haven't made my comments yet, and I don't think Board Member Neve has
Yeah.
either. So let me kind of, I like the train, I like what's being proposed tonight. I think you guys, given the past nature of this house, there was definitely a lot of give and takes and a lot of going through the ringers on this one to get it to where we are today. None to the fault of who's sitting in front of us. So we're in the home stretch as you're describing. And I think we are trying to just figure out a few little pieces that kind of put the puzzle back together or get it put together. I think the deck reductions that you're proposing versus what you originally started with are appropriate, and I think a little softening. I don't think the decks in the shape that, with the red lines, are any excessive for a program this size. I think it's balanced to the home. I think it is balanced to the neighborhood. But I am concerned for the buffering to be between, not, I think it's to your benefit too, because you do live next to the public space of going up and down those stairs. But as described earlier, there is a charm and a historical character to that walkway that was shielded by pretty significant trees. And I think we're headed in that direction with what you guys have agreed with the neighbors. I would like to see it recorded a bit tighter. I think we've given some direction to staff where between the 70-foot and the 90-foot, we're trying to add 3 trees. I'd like to see if it's possible to try to get closer to like 6 trees that can fit in the space, but I know that's going to be tough given the fire requirements. So I'm okay somewhere between 3 and 6, but I think shoot for what you can reasonably try to accomplish, because I do believe it's to your benefit to have those trees placed in that landscaping zone. I can condition it tonight that happens and let you work it out with staff, because I think there is enough of an agreement in place and good faith to make it finalized. If not, then it needs to come back to the board, and I'll let Patrick work on that language. But I think those trees need to be significant height. I know Board Member Gibbs has been mentioning the railing height. I think I'm going to give you guys a grace space that it needs to be between the railing at 103 elevation, and then the eave that's on that same level is 109. So between 103 and 109 is your maintenance range that these trees need to be maintained to. And I think 109 is the max, because given the one neighbor that was across the street, we are trying to be conscious of the views. Street level is 120. So if we're capping things at 109, it's tapering down the hillside, even with the house, maintaining the characteristics of the public space and the balance for the view equity for the neighbor across the street. So that's how I'm defining this one. So I can work on an approval with conditions tonight. All of this and everything that we're seeing is very neighborhood compatible, very design review compatible, and coastal permit would, I don't think it really applies to the modifications, but it would be it's in the right lane. So I can work on it, but I think we have 2 more board members to hear.
Thank you, Louis. Debbie?
Yeah, I think my only, because I don't want to hold up your project in any way, shape, or form, but I think that, the resolution's going to have to come back to us, I guess, if it's going to be modified, if item 7 about, it's going to be modified, right, according to Mr. Noakes.
No, I mean, so that's really up to the discretion of the board. Oftentimes when there's multiple changes and very substantive changes, yes, sometimes we bring resolutions back just to make sure we get it right. If there's specific conditions that the board feels comfortable articulating in a clear way that staff understands, we can take that direction and kind of just amend the resolution, but it's really up to the board's discretion.
It really would be leaving it to staff to decide the exact location of between 3 and 6 trees, that it would be to get in as many as are feasible in that location to protect the privacy between the 2 homes, to go no higher than 109, did you say?
Okay, 103, 109.
And then if there's any problems with staff in reaching a resolution with the applicant, then it comes back to us. So we've done programs like that.
The elevation heights that I was mentioning really gives these trees to be somewhere between 20 and almost 30 feet.
Yeah.
Now, I'd kind of like to leave a height limit of 105. Let me just make a pitch for that. That way we just know it's not going to interfere with people across the street. I think the applicant was fine with making it a height limit. You want it over under?
Between 105 and 109?
Yeah, okay. I don't feel that strongly. I'm fine with that.
Well, I guess the reason I ask staff and legal is because your resolution 7 says that the proposed project is exempt from providing a landscape plan, so, and I know that that's a true statement, but I guess, so what I'm saying is, I think that we need to somehow incorporate that we are modifying a landscape plan because what's there, if trees have died, it's not accurate, or it needs to be implemented, or I'm not sure how staff needs to.
I think we can.
This is a question for
Yeah, we can
Pat.
modify 7.
When we make a.
Can I just finish?
Oh, go-
Excuse me.
sorry.
So that way we can, just so that we can bundle it up and make sure that in the resolution, because it's my understanding, if it's not in the motion, it doesn't really count. So I want to be sure that the motion includes appropriate landscaping that's going to become this privacy buffer and that it's going to be maintained. That's my only comment. So whether staff does it or whether it comes back to us, I'll leave that up to council and which way to handle it. But I think that I just want to be sure that it's not just glossed over.
Pat, do you mind
Yeah,
working
so
up
the-
a amendment, just like a short paragraph? You got
Correct,
it?
yeah. So I've been doing that now, and just to respond to.
Yeah, so I mean, can we make a landscape condition without requiring a modification of a landscape plan? That's kind of the question, because we're saying this application does not include a landscape plan, but we're going to have a condition of adding trees.
Correct, yeah.
Does that work?
Yes, that works. And then, of course, once again, as Board Member Neve astutely noted here, that there's some finding language that may or may not be consistent. So if the board is more comfortable, we of course can bring it back on consent. Once again, it's not a rehearing, it's not reopening it. It's just basically saying, hey, did we staff accurately, jot down and reflect the decision of the board? But once again, that's up to the discretion of the board.
Kind of, and that works. I kind of like to see how the language, because I'm not crazy about, Larry's a great lawyer, but I had some issues with his language. Let's keep it, let's keep it simple.
Okay.
And just nothing personal, but I'd like simplicity when we're doing conditions like this. And so it might be worthwhile to put that in the, make sure the resolution works with Debbie and the board.
All right, so I'll continue. It sounds like we've got consensus that the amended proposal as presented by the applicant team with regard to slight reductions in deck with the addition of the green roof is approvable tonight. It sounds like the only condition that we need to work out, which will go to a further the next hearing, we'll get the language for the resolution that'll be then further reviewed by the board and ideally approved. Does someone want to make a motion? Louis?
I think it's not so much a motion, it's as a direction to staff to prepare a resolution which provides that the board's going to approve it with the modification as presented by the applicant, with additional language to be incorporated with the appropriate findings for the inclusion of trees as a condition, namely between 3 and 6 trees. I don't know if we've agreed upon a species. Melaleucas was heard. Or do you want a species in there, Louis?
Well, Melaleucas are already there. It would match, and they.
Okay, so Matt, are you good with that?
Let me start with the motion. I might ask you for help on those couple
Well,
language
this is a
things.
direction, not, well,
I think we're going to shoot for motion
we'll
for
shoot for a motion.
conditions.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going to put on the floor.
Go for
So
it.
I'm
Okay,
going
go
to
ahead.
move item number 5.5 at project location 31461 Coast Highway, that the board adopts resolution 2026-0375, approving design review 2026-0375, and coastal development permit 2026-0413, and finding said action consistent with the mitigated negative deck adopted by the design review in September 1, 2016, that the board, with the following conditions: that the board accepts the red line changes as proposed by the applicant tonight regarding the 2 levels of decking reductions, and that those reductions are to be replaced with green roof materials. But the board also modifies the landscape plan associated with the project to conform with the right privacy design review criteria, that 3 to 6 significant trees, preferences Melaleuca or accepted by staff, to be added into that zone as discussed in our design review, that's between roughly topography grade 70 and 90, elevations along the south property line near the public staircase. That the trees are to be maintained at a minimum height once fully grown at the 103, which is the railing height. And the max height is not to exceed 109, which is the roof height, or the eave height on these trees. And that we're also going to modify resolution number 7 by the staff and attorney to reflect our discussion and conditions of approval to the landscape plan.
Finding number 7.
And finding number 7.
Correct, yeah. Criteria number 7, excuse me.
Well,
And then
I will second it with a modification.
Okay.
That the motion include direction to staff to revise the resolution consistent with the motion and present it to us on the consent calendar at our next hearing.
I think that's close to what
I
I said, but
second.
I'll take that.
Second.
I'll adopt that.
All right, we're good.
All right. Do we have? Go ahead.
I just want to be sure, can you add to that? I believe there are a few other criteria that we may want to slightly tweak consistent with the board's direction. We will be sure to highlight that. We'll track changes it. And so as long as everyone's good with that, we just want to make sure that.
And any slight changes that the staff and the city attorney need modified, if you can draw up the landscape plan when we bring the resolution back, it'd be helpful, but not required.
I second that. Sarah, call the roll.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs.
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Neve,
Yes.
Chair Bauta.
Yes. Congratulations.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys' time. Thank you.
Yep. 2 weeks, yeah.
All right, moving on to other business. It looks like we've got some guests. Wait a minute.
I did have some quick other business, but I want to make sure I don't step ahead.
Yeah.
I just wanted to update the board. The city council did hear an appeal of 31565 Eagle Rock Way. They upheld your guys' decision, albeit they did add a few conditions. They replaced the 2 eucalyptus with, and once again, I'm just going to use the colloquial term, not the genus and species, either 2 strawberry trees or redbud trees. And then prior to the issue of building permits, the upper level flat roof, they lowered by 1 foot to an elevation of 190 feet from 191 feet. This was 31565 Eagle Rock Way.
So it's the Stan Andrade architecture project. Stan Andrade was the architect.
That was the one with Ann.
Correct, yeah. And then one final thing, I will not be at the next meeting, but you will be in the trusted hands of one of my esteemed colleagues, either Assistant City Attorney Jan Abzug, or maybe the boss, Madam City Attorney. We'll see.
Thank you.
Do I have your preference? But
I won't be at the next meeting.
Other business?
And my only note is to let you know that our meeting of, our next meeting will be June 25th, obviously. 2 weeks after that, on July 9th, we will be canceling that meeting due to its proximity just to the Independence Day holiday.
Super. And then we have some guests here. It looks like we've got some guests here in the room. So we just wanted to take the opportunity to
So to the board and staff, these are my parents, Richard and Marianne. They came to watch. I've had my kids at the meetings and a few other
Well,
families.
you raised an amazing young man.
They're in from Colorado.
I'll echo that as well. Lewis has been a mentor to me on the board. We appreciate him and his efforts here on the board at 4 terms. Insane. And he's obviously an outstanding member of the community, so you guys should be proud.
I voted for him.
Moving on, meeting adjourned. The next scheduled meeting for design review is June 25th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.